at 2nd Street Northeast between Constitution Avenue and C Street. And a lot of protesters have been out there. They've made their way into the building. The police, just a short time ago, as we were watching while you were in commercial, ordering everybody to cease and desist, I suppose, and then began making arrests. And they are making numerous arrests as the camera tries to get a focus on all of this as the news is breaking. That's a look up into the center of the building. There's a huge, if you've visited, you know, there's a place where you can congregate and hear that area is. Listen to what sounds like a bit of chaos in there. There have been protests, of course, as expected and as organized, by the way, as far back as Monday, for when it became clear that this vote would go this way, and the protesters are out and about all over the district this afternoon, I'm told. The Senate could make a final decision, as we've been reporting here, by Saturday, maybe Sunday, if this preliminary vote gets underway as scheduled. The preliminary vote. Let's get to our Chad Pergram, who's live up there on Capitol Hill. Chad, what are we thinking here?
Well, I've been told in just about the past 10 minutes here that they would expect this procedural vote to come sometime in the late morning tomorrow, but before lunch. Now, what happens when you invoke cloture or you vote to cut off a filibuster in debate? It takes 51 votes. It then initiates a 30-hour clock. So let's say, hypothetically, they vote at 11 o'clock in the morning. It takes about 30 minutes to have that roll call vote. So they close the vote at 11:30 and then count 30 hours past that. That would get you to about 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock Saturday night, if the Democrats, the opponents of the nomination, burn all 30 hours. Now, you can make the sun rise in the west if you get unanimous consent. They can move this up. They can move this back if all 100 senators agree. And what is the unknown is whether or not the Democrats will use all of their time once that is put into motion sometime tomorrow, Shep.
These demonstrations, not unexpected, I guess.
Right. This is a big nomination. Tensions are high here. There's a lot of protesters in the building. I was just outside the Capitol, and they put up a barricade around the Capitol that only people with hard passes can get in and get out. They're very mindful of escorting senators to and from their offices and to and from votes. I followed Lisa Murkowski, Republican senator from Alaska. She left the skiff where they were briefing senators on the FBI report, took this labyrinthine path through the basement of the Capitol, through the Capitol Visitor Center, and came out on the House side. In fact, that's where I talked to her just about an hour and a half ago, and she says that she has not yet made a decision. She does say, though, that it is, quote, decision time. What we think the math is right now, at a minimum, Mitch McConnell is going to get 50 votes on this nomination. If he gets Susan Collins, holds Jeff Flake, maybe he gets Lisa Murkowski, that would be 51. If he's at 50-50, then Vice President Pence would come in and break the tie. Never before has a vice president broken a tie on a Supreme Court nomination, Shep.
You're not counting out West Virginia's Joe Manchin, are you?
Right, but Joe Manchin is not expected to vote yes to be the 51st vote. He's not going to pull this across the finish line. He kind of signaled a little bit yesterday that he might be leaning in that direction, but we're not sure, Shep. If
it's a done deal, I guess it's a possibility. Again, he's in the skiff, still looking at the things. Chad, stay with us if you could. We're going to follow these demonstrations. The arrests appear, you're watching with me, appear to be happening in somewhat orderly fashion. You may have seen the comedian Amy Schumer in there, first cousin of the minority leader Chuck Schumer, and a big crowd out and about continuing coverage after this. Still watching the demonstrations happening in Washington on the indication, at least, that Judge Kavanaugh will become confirmed for the Supreme Court. This is the Hart Senate office building, and the pictures have been coming in for the last 30 minutes or so. Chad Pergram is our main guy on Capitol Hill, producer, and I'm wondering, is this kind of demonstration, is this happening in multiple places in Washington, or are we seeing a one-off?
We've seen protests over at the Supreme Court. We've seen protests here on Capitol Hill all day. People coming in. A group came in to talk to Joe Manchin in his office, wanting to talk about, sexual assault, sexual harassment. There was a group of about 20 or so. I've been talking to Capitol security officials for quite a while now, and even dating back before Brett Kavanaugh, they were telling me the level of protests and the level of demonstrations that they were having here at the Capitol were reaching the levels that they had not seen since the 1960s, anti-Vietnam era types of things, anti-Nixon and Watergate types of protests. This is very intense. Why? Well, the vote here is dancing on the tip of a pin. It could toggle one way or the other depending on one or two votes. It's also a swing vote on the Supreme Court. That's why this is so critical. And what that has done, it has intensified people on both sides of the aisle, especially on the left, Shep.
Indeed. Chad Pergram, I know you got to get away and get ready for the next program. Thank you so much. This sort of thing, as I mentioned, some of the organizers of this began organizing these demonstrations back on Monday. And